my name's Suzanne. I work for Keep Scotland Beautiful, which is an environmental charity. We support people to care for the places they love, to tackle litter and to combat climate change. My role is communications manager, and that basically means that I get to gather and share all the great stories that are going on from across the organisation, and I get to then share this through social media, through our website, and through the media or the press, so things that you might read in newspapers. I've been doing this job now for about 20 years, so I'm getting quite old, but it's something that I'm still really passionate about. I've been able to combine my love of nature, and particularly the sea actually, with a degree I did in marine biology, and then my first job was as a reporter for a local paper. So I've been able to combine those skills and that knowledge, and really I've found my dream job. Not many people are able to say that, but that's why I've been here doing it for such a long time. I've always loved nature, probably more than people, if you're allowed to admit that, and protecting our planet is really what I try to do in every action that I take during the day. In my view, climate change is probably the biggest challenge facing humans, and in my job I get to talk about the problems and I get to talk about the risks, but most importantly I get to highlight the opportunities and the actions that people are taking across Scotland and the world to try and really combat climate change, and that's absolutely inspiring, and it makes you remember every day that there are simple things that we can do to make a difference. I have a little girl now, she's 2, and what I want most of all for the future is for her to have a greener future, one that isn't quite like we live today, but where having to talk about green alternatives is a thing of the past because it's embedded into what we do. I want her to be part of a generation like yourselves where we feel that it's possible to combat climate change, and actually every action we take is working our way to doing that. We need policy change, we need global government commitment and action, and we need businesses and industry to do things differently. But for me, what we also need is for everyone to believe that the actions that they take now make a difference. I think sometimes people feel a little bit helpless when confronted with climate change. It's such a big thing. But what we do every day is talk to people who are taking action, sometimes simple, sometimes really impressively big. And I've learned over the years that there is so much that we can all be doing to tackle climate change. It starts with us. It starts with you and it starts with me. It's simple things that we can do, like planting more for nature and planting seeds for biodiversity, thinking about what you buy, choosing to buy things differently or not to buy them at all, reusing more, recycling more, walking, cycling, all of these simple things which sometimes we take for granted, but collectively, if we're all doing them regularly and more, becomes a way of life, and that will help us combat climate change. So I think action on climate change is vital. We all need to be doing something. Keep Scotland Beautiful is here to support you to do things, and if you're interested in finding out more about what we do, or you want to get involved in keeping Scotland beautiful, we're here to support you, because really, and it's a bit cheesy, but this is your future and we need to get it right together for you and for everybody else. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Alistair and I work for the environmental charity Keep Scotland Beautiful on the issue of climate change. My wonderful job is to develop new exciting projects that will help people across Scotland understand climate change and change the way they live so that they reduce their carbon footprint. Our projects work with businesses, individuals, community groups, sports clubs, churches and faith groups, musicians, actors and people from almost every walk of life. So I get to dream up ideas to get people interested and involved on climate change. And today I've just finished leading a meeting on Zoom where we had 100 people from churches across Scotland talking about what churches and Christians can do about climate change. And tomorrow I'll be talking to people in the Highlands of Scotland about a project that would help people reduce the amount of food waste and the amount of single-use plastics that they use right across the Highlands. I got into this job by being someone who always loved being outside. I was the kind of pupil who spent a lot of my time sitting in the class looking out the window and wishing I wasn't in school but wishing I was outdoors. So I love trees and woods and wildlife and fishing and camping, and I went to uni and studied all of that stuff. And I think there are two reasons why I really want to work on climate change. Firstly, because If we don't change what we're doing, climate change will damage nature big time. But secondly, I work in this area because you and me are part of nature. And if we don't change, climate change will cause suffering for lots of people. And the people who are going to suffer the most are the people who have done nothing or the least to cause this problem, people particularly in poor countries. So for me, climate change is an issue of fairness and justice. People like you and me have a big carbon footprint and we need to change. It's just not fair if we don't. So what would I like to see happen for climate change? Well, I'm excited about the future for Scotland as we move towards a low carbon way of living. Electric cars are going to make our air cleaner. Using Zoom to meet people will reduce the amount of time and money we waste travelling, as well as our carbon footprint. Walking or cycling for short journeys will make us healthier and make our streets safer. Eating a lower carbon diet is going to make us healthier and live longer. And planting trees and restoring Scotland's bogs will store lots of carbon, but also make great places for wildlife and fun places for people to visit too. And generating clean electricity from wind and water and sunshine will create new jobs for lots of people in Scotland. And what have I learned about climate change through my work? Well, I think I've learned that you don't need a job in climate change to make a difference about climate change. Everyone can make a difference and we all need to act. You and I can either be part of the problem by living lives that use a lot of the Earth's precious resources, or we can be part of the solution. So be part of the solution.
Hi, my name is Josh and I am an education officer at Keep Scotland Beautiful, and my main kind of day-to-day activities is going around to secondary schools and teaching students and teachers about climate change. And I got into this job by a bit of a convoluted way. So I used to be a science teacher for 4 years. I used to teach science and biology to secondary school students. And then I was a tree planter for a bit, so I was planting trees in and around Scotland, and both of those kind of jobs obviously have some link to climate change and wanting to do something about trying to reduce the impact of our carbon footprints and our carbon emissions. And after doing them for a while, I then found this job with Keep Scotland Beautiful, and I wanted to kind of use my teaching skills again and get back into the classroom. One of the best things about my job is that I get to go in and meet lots of interesting people, teachers and students, and see all of their kind of interesting and unique ideas of things that we can do to try and combat climate change and reduce our impact.
Hi, my name's Alan. I'm a Climate Action Officer for Keep Scotland Beautiful. In my day job, I look after communities to support them taking action on climate change, both by providing funding and support and advice, and also helping them to create plans to work out what's best for their own communities. I didn't always work in climate change. I started off being an engineer, going to college and learning to have a degree in mechanical engineering. And then I moved into working in computing and manufacturing of computers. So I've had quite a different number of experiences and jobs in my career. But now I'm working on climate change as I think it's the most important thing that we can do.